When we look at these trade ideas, when we look at this price action idea, and we look at the price action that's evolved on the S&P today, we can recognize some very obvious things. We can recognize that there's no sellers during that phase, really. Agreed? There's no sellers there at all. We can recognize that there was probably no sellers during that phase as well. But we can recognize that that started to change in amongst this area here, and again in here, and again in here. And even during this phase, does that look like there's plenty of sellers coming in on these moves higher? Sure. It looks like a market maker's field day in terms of that move higher, doesn't it? Because every single one of these little pops higher rotates enough for a market maker to make some monies. So the market maker comes in and rotates this high here, and then rotates the next high here, and then rotates the next high here, and rotates the next high, doesn't it? So the market maker's doing all of those brilliant bits of business. And if the market maker's doing that, you've got to ask yourself the question, why is the market maker so confident about holding those short plays? The slowdown is visual, isn't it? It's a visual element to the trading. It's a crazy easy visual to spot, the slowdown on individual moves. And then obviously the acceleration here and the acceleration here tells you that there is no buyers. There's just no buyers to be seen, is there? It's the same as the way up here from that move there and that move there. And a similar thing happened on the way down from here, isn't it? There's no buyers there. And that move there, there's no buyers there. So the price is going to keep going down. This is completely different, isn't it? This move is completely different. There's a couple of rotations. It's still not convincing that the rotations are enough to stop the market. I wouldn't have said anyway. But you can start to recognize that as we come into a key dealer's level, that it becomes a very obvious level 2 buy type trade. And the reversal's in. The reversal's starting to happen. So again, this visual impact of what you're seeing is actually a big piece to the jigsaw puzzle, isn't it? A slow, gradual grind higher on a short-term chart, a long-term chart, that's obviously got plenty of action in it in terms of sellers. That's why it's slow grinding move higher. Market makers are quite happy to do these short-term rotations. The market maker has no evidence at this point. There's no evidence of the market maker having any interest in trying to rotate this market higher at this point, and that means additional sell-side pressure is likely to come into the markets. So when we recognize that we can read these things, and all you're trying to do now is trying to recognize the concept of fast and slow, it's a really easy concept to recognize. Because if I said to you, are you going to buy into this phase here? You've already got the answer. Agreed? If I said to you, are you going to buy into this phase here? You've probably also got the answer. If I said to you, are you going to buy into this phase here? You're starting to get the right answer now, aren't you? You're starting to say, well, I've got a far, far better chance. If I was deciding to buy into a low price, I've got a far, far better chance of being able to buy into that low price. Agreed? And that's if you wanted to buy it.